All right. So, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to check in before we start if people can see me and hear me as well. We will be starting in 2 minutes from now, so that we give some time for people to join. Okay, so one more minute. All right, let's kick it off. So, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is staying home and staying safe. My name is Ahmed Abdelkhalek, and I am a customer engineer, part of the Google Cloud MENA team. I'm streaming at you from my home in Dubai, and today our topic is about how do you reimagine your business and how do you incorporate technologies such as G Suite in specific within your lives. So, just before we start, a quick recap on the episodes that we're running and throughout Digital Days. So these are sessions running throughout March to July. So we want to make sure that you're staying home, you're staying safe, but also don't forget to keep learning. These are the quick links for registrations for your website, for the website, the quick lab codes, and basically the times of the sessions per day, where the different contents and so on. Also, these are the agendas that we're running throughout the 16 weeks. It's different topics around machine learning, International Women's Day, Google Cloud, Firebase, Flutter, and so on and so forth. So stay tuned and make sure you tune in on the different topics that you're interested in. Two more things. So we want you to we love feedback as usual. We rely on your feedback and your inputs. So please help us improve this initiative. There's an attendance certificate weekly after filling the feedback, and you can join our the MENA Digital Days Challenge through those links. So with that, I would want to kick off and try to help you today to get a better understanding of what do we offer from a productivity and collaboration suite? How can you benefit from these tools? And how do you make sure that your productivity is boosted and you change the way you do things? So we'll also walk you through a couple of things where you can build on top of the platform itself in the side of the G Suite applications. So starting off, G Suite is Google's main productivity and collaboration tool, and basically consists of different products. We'll walk you through them, but then before that, I want to take a couple of minutes and really talk about how change is accelerating. So there are different aspects that we need to look at from a statistics perspective in order to start adapting to different technologies and to different ways of doing things, and basically be able to innovate and succeed. When we look at the market change, so markets are being changing in terms of new startups are disrupting the market and basically taking places of different enterprise organizations. So that's one aspect where we see change accelerating based on different statistics. But also another important one is change in technology. So we've seen, 10 years ago, we didn't talk about machine learning, big data analytics, etc. What we've seen today, technology has been changing a lot, and end users, whether they're individuals or companies, needs to adapt to new ways of change. So by some statistics based on different organizations, they believe that by 2020 or within this year, we're going to have 20 billion connected things. So from machinery to cars to mobile devices and different things that will be connected. So this is, a fact where technology is really changing. So how do we adapt to those changes, starting by the business or end user tools? Third, which is one of the most important, is customer needs. So due to the fact that technology is changing and people are accessing the web and the internet and different services through mobile phones, then through their actual laptops, their needs are changing based on that technology change. So customers look at their experience as much as they look at for the product that's provided by different organizations or different vendors. So these three pillars or these three main aspects are basically factors into acceleration of change, and end users need to adapt and businesses needs to adapt to innovate and succeed further. So if we look at what are the main challenges today, and before that, one of the things that are changing rapidly is the way we work and the way we do things. So today, within this situation and these times, people are forced to work from home. They're forced to be productive and collaborative in order to serve the community and to make sure that they're accessible. So even people staying at home are trying to find different ways to collaborate and to become more and more productive. The challenges that different end users pursue are basically related to the old tools that they were used to. So there are statistics where 85% of employees or end users within organizations are usually disengaged. There's no collaboration. People are focusing and making sure that they finish their things by themselves first, and then they start sharing it and collaborating on it later on. And by that, individual work is default. And the third part, which is related to the first two challenges, is time is definitely lost on repetitive tasks. So instead of doing my own work and then sharing it later on after I'm done, I can actually share the work that I'm working on in real time and collaborate with my colleagues in real time. And this is where we've seen a positive change happening with G Suite in specific. So we've seen that companies with more than 1,000 employees, they've seen increase of 68% of employees that are more satisfied and enjoying working at home because their organizations have applied the right security measures, the right security posture to give them the flexibility and the freedom in order to use these tools at home. The second part is where change is positively happening, is where 76% of employees as well are becoming more innovative, and they succeed more and they become more productive after adoption and after collaboration. The more you have people collaborating on the same information, the better the output that you'll get out of that. And the last point is 41% of employees had a positive impact on the way they work. So it's not only a matter of the tools, it's more of changing the culture of the way you do things at work, or the culture of collaboration, or sharing information, or making sure that you are collaborating with the right people. So all of these were positive changes that we've seen happening in G Suite across different organizations and group of people. What I would like to show you is a glimpse of how does that look from a G Suite perspective, and how teams collaborate on the go, where or at home, or even from the office, to become more productive and boost their productivity. So let's go ahead and watch that quick video. Sorry. Right.
Whoa. Next Friday's pitch. By tomorrow. Hey Google, join the meeting.
All right, so that was a very short video on how team members can collaborate on certain projects, whether they're using communication tools or the collaboration tools themselves. So we've seen, them writing emails. We've seen the amazing, AI and ML infused technologies within the email service. I'll walk you through that a little bit. So it's all around emailing, calling, chat, and video conferencing. Everything is in one place. You can manage your calendar and tasks in order to manage time effectively. So that's all part of the communication stream. When we look at collaboration, this is where all the ideas start, and this is where products like G Suite has started initially, where different teams can create and collaborate in real time to boost ideas and to brainstorm different ideas. You can use documents to do that. You can use spreadsheets or even slides in order to create that content. Managing it also is an important fact. So how do you manage content? How do you make sure your content is in the right place, is structured in the right format, and shared with the right people? Third, which is, last but not least, is control. If you're part of an organization, how do you make sure that your users and the data are secure? How do you manage devices? How do you manage identity and access as well? And then at the same time, you want to make sure that you meet compliance and regulatory standards. So these are the three main streams when it comes to the things that you need, or the products that you need to change how you work, whether on if you're part of an organization or an individual that's working across different teams on specific projects. So we've seen tremendous momentum across, where 2 billion plus monthly active apps users 90 million plus students with part of the education, and we have more than 5 million paying organizations that utilize G Suite today. So if I want to get a little bit, I want to go back to this slide, and I want to, just check in some tests to the audience. So Google has 9 products where every product has more than 1 billion monthly active users. So that's a total of 9 billion monthly active users. So if you can guess what are these apps, I'll give you a minute and let's see how many of you get it right. Starts now. So again, what are the 9 apps that have each more than 1 billion monthly active users? Can anyone guess? Not getting any answers yet. Okay, here we posted the question on the chat. We posted the question again. Ten seconds. All right, so we'll keep that question open and I'll keep monitoring all your answers. So if you have a thought, please go ahead and guess the products, and then we'll probably walk you through them by the end of the session. All right, we've got one right. Gmail is definitely one of them. All right, I'll keep you guessing and I'll carry on the presentation until more people start guessing more apps. Cool. So we've talked about the momentum. We've talked about how different organizations, whether education or corporate companies, are utilizing G Suite. Some of the examples are the following. So we have top innovators that have long relied on G Suite, and we have established market leaders that have moved to G Suite. When we talk about top innovators, we speak about Spotify, Lyft, Twitter, Snapchat, Salesforce, and so on and so forth. So these are innovators, startups that started growing, and they have long relied on G Suite. When we look at established market leaders, we talk about Carrefour, PwC, Roche, and other established market leaders in different industries. So these are the type of organizations that are currently using G Suite to boost their employees' productivity and their end users' productivity. So let's take a deeper look on how do we really reimagine how business works? How do we make people use tools and productivity tools that makes it more fun, more smart, more fast to collaborate than ever before? So we're going to look at 3 different themes. One is how do we make it fast through different smart features and cool features? How do we make it smart across a couple of different applications? And how do we make it together when it comes specifically to collaboration? Starting with making it fast. So teams, when they work in parallel, it makes it more easy and more productive in terms of reaching to the end result or having a project or a program that's ready for market. So think of it, if you're building an application, for example, you all love coding and you want to make sure that you're aligned at the product strategy, you're aligned at timelines, you're aligned at different aspects of what you're building today. Real-time collaboration can definitely boost the productivity, and it's a good tool and a good way in order to make sure that you have everything stored in the same place under the same version. So you can do that through Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and so on and so forth. The second part is we have built certain integrations and Gmail add-ons where it can decrease or remove any obstacles that might waste time. So instead of if you're working on Gmail and, for example, you want to grab some information from a different system, we've added support to different add-ons on top of Gmail, inside Gmail, where you can access those applications, the Google applications through add-ons. So we make sure that there's an intuitive, seamless integration between different applications, even if they're not part of G Suite. Third is AI. Again, we infuse all our services with AI and machine learning, right? And we have a lot of sessions as part of the Digital Days talking about machine learning and so on and so forth. So this example basically boosts your productivity from writing emails. So what happens is, once you start writing emails, the autocomplete feature starts completing the email on your behalf. So it starts learning your style of writing, and it understands who you're sending to, and basically starts completing the name of that person and an address if that's something that you've used before, and so on and so forth. So it really helps you. Instead of you take, let's say, 10 minutes or 5 minutes in writing a long email, you would take a lot less time in writing that same email with this capability or this feature to get things done much more faster. So this is how a couple of features to look at it when we talk about how to make it fast. So we're getting more replies from our attendees. So Gmail, Drive is right, Google Maps is correct, Google Photos is correct. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 applications, and there are 5 to go. All right. So let's go back to how do we make it smart? What are the different features and capabilities that will allow end users and employees in different companies to make their work smart? One of my favorite features is what we call Explore in Google Sheets. And basically what happens is, if you have data inside Google Sheets, instead of bothering yourself and trying to think of what's the best way or what's the best chart in order to represent this data, it depends on the type of the data. It depends on a lot of different factors. So instead of squeezing your brains and trying to figure out what is the best way to present this data, Explore can help you do that. So Explore in Sheets, if you go and click on Explore, like you see in this GIF, it will automatically suggest for you different pivot tables. It will suggest for you different charts based on the data type. Another thing that is very interesting as well is the NLP technology part of Explore. So you can actually ask a question to the sheet, and it will basically gives you answers based on the data that's inside the sheet, right? Pretty cool. So you don't need to bother yourself. You don't need to be a data analyst, or you don't need to be a developer in order to try to make a lot of sense of the data. You can just, by one click, get an understanding of how to represent this data and easily add it to your presentations. The second part is search. And, Google is famous with its search capabilities. What we've done is, this is Google Cloud Search, and Google Cloud Search is a tool that is part of G Suite, where you can search not only across your emails, calendar, Drive, sites, groups, but you can also integrate with third-party enterprise applications, and you can search through those enterprise applications as well. If you're looking for a sales report, you can find emails related to sales report, you can find sheets related to sales report, and you can even find reports from your enterprise CRM or enterprise ERP that is pulled from that application, and you can view it inside your cloud search. So it makes it easier to search for documents and to search for information cross-platform, not specifically across G Suite. And some of you might find it a little bit weird that we have security as part of Smart, but what I believe is that security needs to be very, very smart in order to have proactive measures. So there are certain recommendations within your G Suite console that Google provides you in order to configure the best security measures within the admin console or within your administration. So you have unified security dashboards. There are security health recommendations as well. All of these are powered by Google's AI technologies, and it helps you become more proactive to vulnerabilities and more proactive to different attacks that your domain might be facing. So these are three, again, main capabilities and features where G Suite allows your work to be more smart. Now, how do we look at making it together? So that's the third theme. So how do we adopt a collaborative culture? Again, after everyone is working from home, actually, personally, I've been much more busier than ever because you're working from home. There are no external distractions. You're not commuting to or from meetings or even to the office. You're focusing on your agenda, and Meet has helped me a lot in terms of my virtual meetings, either whether I'm meeting with internal coworkers or even meeting with customers externally. It has been very, very productive, and it basically brings the new way of collaborating. Rather than having physical meetings, you're now having virtual meetings, and I believe it's much, much more productive than what we're used to. So that's one thing when it comes to meetings. You can access meetings through your phone, through the web, or even you can dial into the meeting itself. The second part is chat. So chat is another tool where there is smartness in the tool as well, some intelligence. At the same time, there is a lot of collaboration. So you can create a room inside chat, and that room could be a topic about a project or a topic about a product, and add all the concerned people or the respected people within that room. And you can start sharing documents. You can start instantly a video call where you can have a direct conversation and a productive conversation with them. You add files either from Google Drive, you upload them from your desktop, and the smart feature in chat is that basically it suggests responses to whatever you receive from the participants within that room. So more people can contribute, and that would result in bringing more the best ideas out there. Last is working across teams, offices, and devices. So one thing that we really focus on when Google starts building different products is that it is seamless on mobile devices as it is on web browsers as well. So the mobile experience is very important. So we make sure that the experience that you have on your phone, that you love while you're accessing, your social media apps from your couch or accessing your favorite apps on your phone, we make sure you have the same feeling while you're accessing your work apps as well, right? So the same experience you get on the phone is the experience that you get on the web as well. So this is, to streamline working across different teams or even different devices. So this covers our three themes. One thing that I wanted to point out here is, again, one of my favorite capabilities when it comes to Sheets is a feature which is called Connected Sheets. So let's say you want to surface insights from billions of rows of data, right? And that data is sitting in BigQuery. So BigQuery is a product part of Google Cloud, and it is a serverless petabyte scale data warehouse. And if you have billions of rows of data sitting in BigQuery, but you're not an expert in SQL, and even you don't have SQL knowledge, you're not willing to learn, that's not your area, you just want to focus on how to represent that data and how to make sure that you can basically surface some insights from that data without requiring any SQL knowledge. So Connected Sheets allows you to preview data and surface those insights through Google Sheets. So basically, once you enable Connected Sheets, you can analyze your big data and create charts and pivot tables and all your favorite functions through Google Sheets rather than writing SQL queries if you don't have the knowledge of SQL. So these are the three, as I said, the three different themes that we discussed, and also another feature of Connected Sheets. One thing that I really want to echo here is security. So at Google, security is the most important thing. We make sure that our platform and our products are highly secure, reliable, compliant, and it's something that you can trust. So we reduce risk with intelligent insights. When you look at email in specific, we have almost 99.9% or more accuracy in blocking spam messages and email compromise scams. So in order to add an additional layer of security as well, you can use security keys as part of an additional layer, as part of your multi-factor authentication. So how do you do that proactively? Again, you can use multiple ways, either security keys or multi-factor authentication through your phone, or even authorizing a certain service through your mobile phone. You can also have centralized control and management of the services, mobile devices, endpoints, and the authorization for users whether to share documents externally or not. So security is on top of mind always when we look at either productivity and collaboration tools, or even our GCP or our Google Cloud platform. So eventually, when we look at G Suite, we've seen, and that was a report by Forrester. So these statistics were based on a certain use case, and G Suite helps deliver significant business value. When we look at the circle of value, we see there are different aspects. One is the risk mitigation, employee efficiency, revenue growth, and IT cost savings. Based on that report and based on those statistics, the organization has seen 1.5% increase in revenue driven by G Suite. There were 21 work days saved per user per year. So when you look back a little bit at the beginning of our presentation here, we were talking about the different challenges to end users or to employees. One of them was the time lost for repetitive tasks. So when users started using productive tools and made sure that they collaborate in real time and work together as a team, they were able to save 21 working days per year per user. And that's a huge optimization. The third part, which when it comes to risk mitigation, with the intelligence of security of the platform, there were 95% risk reduction of data breach, because we're talking about not only managing the service. So it's a software as a service product, which is specifically talking about G Suite. Security on the layer of the application is very important. Not only that, but also on the layer of the browser. So running those applications on Chrome browser gives you the capability as an administrator to manage the Chrome browser of your user, and also to manage the application layer of that specific service to make sure the organization policies are being in place in order to reach that 95% of risk reduction. Last but not least, end users usually reach out to support in order to ask a question or to ask about a specific piece of information. Whether things are not working properly, things are hanging, different types of support tickets. And what we've seen, based again on the report, is 20% reduction of on-demand tech support. What that means is 20% reduction of support related to the technology or related to the application itself. It's more of, how do I make sure that I utilize fully this specific service or this specific application, rather than, this application doesn't open, this application is hanging, and so on and so forth. So this has contributed a lot in terms of significant business value to different organizations. And by that, this is a very quick summary of G Suite. What are the different features and capabilities? Now, what I want to do is I want to walk you through a couple of other things as well that you can start working on and you can start actually experiencing within G Suite. When we look at G Suite, I want you to look at it not only as an application that is available out of the box or a set of products that are available that you can utilize right away, but I also want you to look at it as a platform, because G Suite, there are certain functionalities and technologies on top of G Suite or part of G Suite where you can utilize the product as a platform. So I'll change my screen now to walk you through that, and then I'll be happy to take different questions. So there are quick labs, basically quests when it comes to G Suite in specific. We have two things. One is basically the initial training or getting started. And then this basically includes things like getting started with Gmail, how to set up different labels and different concepts inside the application itself. And it's per application, and it's focused on the most used or utilized applications and services. One thing that I want to, shed some light on when it comes to email. When we look at email transformation, it's not about how you send an email or how do you reply to it or how you compose an email, right? It's more about a concept that has been proven very effectively, which is called the zero inbox concept. So what is the zero inbox concept? It is the ability for you as a user of email to make sure that you minimize the number of unactioned emails. So usually if we look at our inboxes or our mailboxes now, we're going to see, X number of emails that are unread. You have a lot of things that are unactioned. There are a lot of newsletters here, a lot of, probably communication related to groups there, and so on and so forth. So how do you make sure you utilize this concept and optimize your email? And inside Gmail, you have certain capabilities and features that will help you boost your email productivity. And I'll give you some insights on those rules. So the zero inbox strategy has a very simple rule. And that rule is you need to be able to take a decision on a single email in less than 2 minutes. So you receive an email, you have 2 minutes to take an action. What are the different actions? One action is you can delete it. The second action is you can archive the email. Third action is you can read it, actually go through it and reply to it. The fourth action is to snooze the email. So there's a feature in Gmail where you can snooze the email until a certain time. So it gets removed from your mailbox. Once that snooze time is ready, it basically pops up the email at the top of your inbox so that it alerts you that you need to reply to that email. The fifth action is moving it to tasks. So I've gone through different ways of how to optimize my managing my emails, and I started by moving it to tasks. So what ended up happening is I started moving all my emails into tasks. So I started managing my tasks and not managing my email, right? So I started looking at taking different approaches and different actions to make sure that I optimize it to the max. And one of the things that I've noticed is the rule that I made sure that I'm very disciplined in utilizing that rule, which is an action needs to be taken in less than 2 minutes. If you cross the 2 minutes, you'll get distracted by other things that you're doing, on the same time. So this is where we look at transformation, and this is where we look at how do you digital transform an end user or an employee that is used to using different tools and productivity services. So when I want you to look at these, I want you to look at, these are getting started quests where you can, where you have test accounts, and there are hands-on labs as well to better understand the different services. This is the G Suite Essentials. Now, the second one, which is, I think, going to be much more interesting for the audience, is integration. So there are ways to integrate with G Suite. So as part of G Suite, there is a service or a tool which is called App Scripts. And App Scripts allows you to create different workflows. So you can create, so for example, here in those quests, I really emphasize on how do you create a Gmail add-on. So if you want to add something in Gmail that you like or that you've used previously, but you really don't know how to do that or how to bring it to life. So you can use, you can start with this hands-on lab, and basically start creating Gmail add-ons. Of course, we will share the G Suite quests on Quick Labs. Definitely, Sam. We'll make sure that this happens. So Gmail add-ons, again, how do you create it? If I walk you through the quest itself, it shows you here. So this quest specifically, how do you display additional information, connect to non-Google services to retrieve information or take other actions, or provide an interactive interface to allow the user to control the add-on. So these are the things that you're going to learn throughout this quest. And one thing, the end result of this is to allow you, this add-on will allow you to quickly change labels of an email thread, right? So there are very interesting add-ons that you can build. There are interesting add-ons that you can actually start using. It's a very interesting space when it comes to utilizing G Suite as a service rather than just an application or a product suite outside of the box. One other thing that I really also want to show you is let's increase the complexity a bit. So this is a quest where you use AppScript in order to basically connect or access Google Sheets, Maps, and Gmail, and in 4 lines of code, right? I know it's interesting, and I really urge all of you to go ahead and try it. Again, after we share the quests with you, but you'll find a lot of things and you'll discover a lot of things that you didn't know about AppScript and building different workflows on top of G Suite, and actually utilizing G Suite as a platform rather than just an email service or a Google Sheet and so on. You can automate different workflows. You can read data from different sources. You can input data. You can automate approvals. A lot of cool stuff that could be done there. So please go ahead and start doing some quests. And I really believe that you're going to find them very beneficial. If we even take it a step further, looking at big data analysis, to slides. So think of so in this quest, what's interesting about it is it's not only that you're going to build that integration or that connection, but it covers also BigQuery in GCP. As I said, BigQuery is a product, part of Google Cloud, and it's Google Cloud's petabyte scale serverless data warehouse. So it specifically allows you to call data using the API into a Google Sheet and automatically present this data on a Google slide, right? So this is where we talk about business transformation at another level. So when we start with digital transformation, we look at the direct impact to the end user. We make sure that they collaborate in the right way. We make sure that they utilize the tools the most. Once the end users are comfortable, we start looking at the back-end processes. What could be automated? How can we automate that? Is it an approval lifecycle? How many departments are involved? How many organizations are involved? Does it require third-party access? How do we make sure it's secure? And so on and so forth. And then discussions of transformation are endless, and business processes could be overcome and basically by utilizing AppScript and G Suite as a platform. So with that, I just want to make sure that So I've seen here. Thanks everyone. Thanks GTG MENA for posting the Quick Labs quests. So with that, I really want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope it was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, we have almost 60 minutes left. Please feel free to post any questions. I'm happy to take them and answer them. And yeah, please feel free to ask any questions. You're most welcome. It was my pleasure to present this to you. I'll have to come back to you on whether this presentation could be shared or not, but I'll definitely look into it. Excellent question. So how can we introduce G Suite to our universities who are just starting to involve technology in our studies? So I think there are two ways of doing that. One way is there is a technical perspective of introducing G Suite into an organization, especially when it comes to universities. And then there's also the, I'd say, professor's perspective or how they utilize the tools. So what I suggest is if you think there is a use case inside the university that could be covered with G Suite for Education, then I would urge you to go and you can probably talk to your professors or people responsible for running technology within the organization, suggest G Suite, and it's easily deployable. What we can do also as part of the knowledge sharing, we can share different public deployment methodologies and how to onboard universities to G Suite Education from a technology perspective or a technology standpoint. One thing that I want to suggest as well, in addition to G Suite, if you can still see my screen, there is an open source technology by, let me share that with you as well, because this is very useful for universities. You can reach out to me again on my LinkedIn. Thank you, GDG MENA, for posting that. And what I want to share with you on the spot here today is Google Course Builder. So as part of Google for Education, there you go. As part of Google for Education, there is an open source, so part of Google open source, there is something called Course Builder. And Course Builder is an open source platform where you can download the code and you start building courses online, specifically for universities. So that would boost the productivity of professors, specifically when we're talking about higher education. And you have, whenever you go and take a course online, Course Builder can help you build the same platform in order to make sure that's available. So it's an open source again, and it's specifically to focusing on open online education. Very good questions. 11 minutes to go, so feel free to use this time to post more and more questions. You're most welcome. True as well, Siam. Thank you for that. There's also Google Classroom. That is correct. And Google Classroom is part of G Suite for Education, and that could be used in higher education, or it can also be used for schools. So both schools and universities. Thank you, Siam. Would it be helpful to introduce G Suite to students who are new by asking them to do the G Suite Quick Labs? Yes, the G Suite Essentials Quick Labs would be helpful. However, there's also a public, let me get that for you. There's also a public learning portal, which is this learning portal is by Google, and basically it helps onboard users to G Suite or to different applications. It is called, just give me a second. All right. So if you look up G Suite Learning Center, so there is a G Suite Learning Center that is available online. I'll make sure that you have access to that. And then the second thing is you have also trainings and certifications. If you go to gsuite.google.com, you'll find gsuite.google.com/training. Over there, you'll find access to the G Suite Learning Center, and you'll also find how do you learn the basics across different products. There are quick tips, and there's also a G Suite certification that you can opt in for. So go to gsuite.google.com/training. You're most welcome. So before I close and I leave you enjoy the rest of the evening with our digital sessions. I asked a question at the beginning of the presentation on the 9 Google products with more than 1 billion monthly active users each, and I think Mohammed Tawfiq, he mentioned different apps. Some of them are correct and some of them are not. So I will basically, I'll tell you now what are the 9 products. So you have Gmail, Google Drive, Google Photos, Google Chrome, Google Maps, Google Search, Android, Google Play Store, and YouTube. So these are the 9 apps, 9 Google products that each have more than 1 billion monthly active users. So thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you for Mohammed for being very close to the answers. You just missed a couple, but thank you again for your interaction and questions. You've been amazing. And please don't forget to send your feedback, and looking forward to being with you again. Thank you so much and have a great evening.